So, is it right to, if a baby's born and the mother says, you know, I don't want it, is it right to leave it so it will starve, die, or whatever? You know, if I have a child that's 6 years old, if it can't survive on its own, you know, and it's a burden to me, you know, is there a way I can get rid of it or kill it? Can I kill it? So it becomes a matter of age, and of course the situation whether it's out of the womb or not, so whether it's a human being that we consider acceptable to kill or not to kill. So there's a whole thing about, you know, I think, you see the woman, oh yeah, adultery. When a woman's caught, woman's caught in adultery or a man's caught in adultery, they're supposed to, you know, according to Jewish society, the way it was supposed to be back then, you're supposed to kill that person. Well, you know, did Jesus go around killing Jewish people or requesting Jewish people be killed if they committed adultery? There was this woman, and she was the priests and the Pharisees went up to her and said, Moses commanded we should kill such women like this that have committed adultery. Of course, they didn't care about the man. That's unjust by definition, I believe. And so they said, okay, we got to kill this woman because it's you see and they said, what do you say? And it's interesting. Jesus never said, well, give me some proof that she committed adultery. Jesus wasn't interested in whether she. Jesus apparently was convinced that she committed adultery, I guess, but he didn't say, okay, give me some information, give me the evidence, and then if she's committed adultery, then we can kill her. But Jesus said, okay, he said, okay, if you're so perfect, then go ahead and throw the first stone. So my question is to anybody who would be viewing is, why did Jesus say that? So, well, he was making a new religion. Well, back then they were Jews. When Jesus was alive, they weren't Christians. Other than they followed this Jewish teacher, it wasn't a new religion. There was still the reference to the old law. Jesus didn't say, well, the old law doesn't apply anymore. He said, if anybody's about then, let them cast the first stone. Jesus referred to the Old Testament law. And the thing that I think kind of gets you, is, okay, if Jesus didn't buy the whole Old Testament, then why did he refer to the Old Testament frequently? Jesus said Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you hypocrites. You strain out the gnat, you swallow the camel. So, in this religion, by people that do read, because Peter read, Paul read, they could read the Bible. They could read what they had of the Bible. If it wasn't completed before they had a chance to read it. They wrote letters. Peter's letters were later on. They had Acts written and all this stuff. They had the Old Testament. Peter read because they wrote. If Peter wrote, then he read. Peter read. Paul read. Timothy read because Paul wrote a letter to him. So people read back then. So how could they accept this contradiction? When you read their letters, it doesn't seem to say, it doesn't seem to be like they were ignorant, that they didn't know the way things worked. So the question comes down to, was there a reason why God required the death of certain people? Was it out of the Jewish society? And I think the answer from the evidence is no, Jesus did not, or God did not require the death of people outside Jewish society that did these things. Sodom and Gomorrah was a special case. It was not. Sodom and Gomorrah was not destroyed because of homosexuality exclusively. If you read the story, there were some threats, there was some violence involved. It was the town against Lot, his wife, his two daughters. Well, at least they were in the house. His two daughters, perhaps, perhaps their fiancés, and the three men, and the whole town. If you got the whole town busting down your door, I think you can pick up what's going on there. It was a violent situation. It was not a consensual relationship, a sexual relationship. That was a forced one. It was a rape. It was which was intended, and they threatened. They said to Lot, "We're going to do worse to you." And as far as everything that went on in that city, it's not written, but that's supposed to give us a little bit of an idea. So no, I don't believe that Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. I get this over and over again from these people that are supposed to love other people, and they're supposed to be truthful. They're supposed to be honest witnesses of this Christian testimony, if there be one, of this Christian religion, and they go around, well, God's going to destroy you, and God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because of homosexuality. No, He didn't. So anyway, outside of Israel, there were not these laws that said, okay, you're gonna do these things outside of Israel. And I made a video, not on this site, I don't think, basically said, if somebody doesn't want to commit to these things, back when God said that, with their the commitment that they made made a commitment to God, if they don't want to commit to it, they don't want to be part of that, then they don't have to be a part of that society. They could leave the society and do whatever they wanted. As far as the Jewish law was concerned, they would be outside the Jewish law. But my contention is, and for maybe something I won't go into right now, they had a reason, that reverencing God was important. Maybe I am going into it now. Reverencing God was important. It was important to do what God said because, reverencing, perhaps there was some reason, and I can just say perhaps, not really going into where I say there was or there wasn't, and not saying that at this point, that He did, that He's made these commandments to that group of people. But if God is really to be reverenced, if people can see the miracles God is doing, and they've committed their lives to it, and God should be reverenced, then to me that factors in. But we go back to, at what point is it okay to kill somebody? When is it right to hate somebody? We go back to Cain. God didn't kill Cain, even though He said Cain was a murderer. Cain's family didn't, Adam and Eve didn't kill Cain. Or his brother didn't kill him, his other brother. So, and a lot of people would say they're for the death penalty or for locking somebody up. I say, well, why would you kill somebody if you cared? It comes down to what we value. What we value, I think, is important. Comes down to, I think a lot of people think their no values are important. No values as far as right and wrong, those aren't the values to value. And then I kind of ask, well, where do your values come from? I think it's been stated before. But we we wonder where people are coming from. But if you lock somebody up, Hitler, from what this is a little, a rumor as far as I know. But they say Hitler was didn't commit suicide. That and then there's been claims that they brought Hitler's men over to the United States to help them with secret ops and stuff like that.